Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2019 career mode, episode number 58 today for the Singapore Grand Prix in Season 3. If you guys did miss the previous one, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. A massive fight at Monza, hopefully, maybe a little less so at Singapore, we'll see, but Singapore has been a tough Grand Prix for us, and it has been a wet one for us so far in the F1 2019 game, so I'm looking forward to a dry Singapore Grand Prix weekend in quali and the race, and that's what it will be actually, thankfully, so that'll be good, and hopefully we can now concentrate just on fighting back at Leclerc. Obviously, he got some good points on us in the championship, and like I said at the end of the last episode, it just keeps on going left and right between us, and it's going to be the same again here at Singapore, I'm guessing. But Racing Point coming to this weekend with massive upgrades there to jump ahead of Renault on the R&D charts, become the third fastest team there. Racing Point snuck out of nowhere. They look pretty rapid at Italy, remember, with the Hulkenberg, so not entirely surprised they're right up there now, but they kind of, I feel like they've come out of nowhere. They weren't really there in the R&D race beforehand, but there they are now, along with Renault, and obviously McLaren have been performing so well as well, so it's going to be a real scrap here at Singapore. The season just gets tighter and tighter really for these races, which means the championship fight just becomes a lot harder in terms of myself and Leclerc can't get massive points over one another race to race, so it's going to be another tight one, I think. Let's go to qualifying and see how we do on Saturday.
It's time for us to settle down and the drivers below to get fired up. Once again, welcome to Singapore as we get ready for the green light and the start of what should be a fantastic qualifying session. It always looked like the kind of track that asks an awful lot of the rear tyres, such as the frequency of low-speed exits.
No matter how good a driver is at managing their throttle application to limit rear slip, they can't always overcome a car that's inherently bad at looking after its rear tyres. Here we have a lot of low-speed corner exits, which means a whole load of energy, heat and tyre wear.
Right, so delving into our flying lap then in Q1 under the floodlights here in the true night race of the F1 calendar. Lando Norris going fastest there, the McLaren car looking decent. I suspect the Renaults will be looking decent as well, and the Racing Point good, but I'm not sure they're going to be as good as they were at Italy, because I think the Racing Point car gains a lot of its speed from the straight line here, whereas the Singapore street circuit, you need the downforce and you need to be able to maneuver the car as nimbly as you can, and this Toro Rosso feeling pretty decent actually on this lap here, and definitely compared to the Alfa Romeo of last season, this car feels a lot better, but obviously it would do is it's a more upgraded car, obviously a max Toro Rosso, and so we go across the line there, a bit of understeer, but up into P5, then Leclerc in P4, so looking decent there for the Q1 pace. However, though, as we get to the end of the session, an absolute calamity comes to our team. I don't know quite what went on here, but the lap felt really decent. The car felt good, like I said, it was very maneuverable. Myself and Leclerc were P4 and 5, and as I go to the end of Q1, then we parked up in the garage, just sat in the garage, because it was all fine and dandy. We're still in the top 5, all the way until the time went 0, and then we fade to black, come out of black, and lo and behold, myself and Leclerc are outside the Q1 cutoff time. We're both out in Q1. Leclerc in P16, myself in P18. This is an absolute disaster. I don't know what on earth has happened to our car here in qualifying. Like I said, it felt great. I almost matched Leclerc's time. We're both together up there in P4 and 5, so it wasn't like I made a horrendous mistake. Obviously, I was a little bit slower than Leclerc, but not massively slower, really. But I don't know what's gone on. Is our car broken or something? Because it felt fine, but just didn't have the lap time. But it certainly seems like it's broken, or something's broken in the game or something. I don't know. I really can't explain this. So baffling. I was in utter shock. My jaw dropped to the floor as we went to the end of Q1, but that is the way it crumbles. That's the way the cookies crumbled, and we're out of Q1 along with our championship rival and teammate Leclerc. Toro Rosso are out, the championship leaders by a mile, out of qualifying at the first time of asking here at Singapore. So I take this opportunity to change control electronics, because we had a second one being very worn out. The first one obviously is in red. It was kaput because of Devin Butler, who actually retired that all the way back at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, so we had one left to go with the season. So taking the opportunity to take a grid penalty, because we may as well, and change out their new component. But yeah, very baffling qualifying. I don't think I'll ever have an answer to what happened there with myself and Leclerc, but there we go. We go on to Sunday now at the back of the grid, as well as Leclerc down there in P16, and well, I guess as a team we've got to hope that that pace that we showed in quali was not representative of what we can do in the race. Otherwise we have got a long race ahead of us, and Singapore is already the longest race in the calendar, so prayers for us. Let's go to the grids on Sunday.
As the sun sets over the South China Sea, the sport that never sleeps is alert and raring to go. Welcome, under the bright lights of the Marina Bay Circuit, to another Singapore Grand Prix. It's a very long, very physical lap, this one, and really there's not much in the way of margin for error. So we have a bit of an endurance race for you tonight. It's a 3.1 mile lap here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit with 47% taken at full throttle. It's hot, humid and bumpy around the 13 lefts and the 10 rights of mostly slow corners. But we should see speeds of up to 200 miles per hour along the Raffles Boulevard. And it's an absolute pleasure to be joined once again by Anthony Davidson. Can we talk about Toro Rosso? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position. And starting alongside in P2 is Sebastian Vettel. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Perez, Daniel Ricciardo and Kvyat. Weber, they've taken a grid penalty. Bottas, Giovinazzi and Kimi Raikkonen. Hülkenberg, Grosjean, George Russell and Stroll. Leclerc, Hamilton, Devon Butler and the engineer, Magnussen. And Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot today. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So pretty decent timing actually to take that penalty of 5 places, because we took that 5 place grid penalty and we're still in P18 because others had more penalties than us, and so we stayed put there where we actually qualified. But a very mixed up grid actually. Verstappen on pole, Vettel in the Williams in second place, but obviously the McLaren still looking pretty decent in that top 10 shootout. That did not include us, and obviously we're way down here. Leclerc's P16. We've got both some making up to do, but as we're making up the places, we're also fighting each other basically to try and get one over each other for the championship in the points. So it's going to be a one-stop race for everyone, because it looks like everyone qualified on the medium tyres. I believe this is a tiny bit of a glitch where if you don't get through into Q3, automatically everyone who makes it into Q3, they had already qualified on medium, so it makes the race a very dull kind of one-stop, but I feel like it probably already was going to be a one-stop anyway, just due to the tyre wear upgrades here in Season 3 that we got, so I don't think it's going to make much of a difference that we didn't make it through in terms of the strategy that would have been. So we're going to lower the fuel as per usual, but keep it a little bit for Singapore, because it is a long Grand Prix, and I think we're going to need to use that rich mix down the back straights with this compromise set up for a bit more downforce in the corners, of course. So here we go then to 5 red lights. So what is going to be a very long Singapore Grand Prix for myself and Leclerc for the championship. 5 red lights are out and we're underway from P18 on the grid. It's a great start there by Devon Butler. It's a slow one from Leclerc actually on the right hand side that you can see on the far right. We dive through into turn 1, threading it through the middle of the Mercedes and Red Bull. Look at that, Vettel comes across and hits Hamilton. Vettel from second place on the grid, the front row. He's been sent across. I wonder if he got spun by Verstappen into turn 1. So from second, he's down to P17. He cut across everyone and smashed into Hamilton. We just about avoided that actually there. So that's what happens when you don't qualify as high up there. There's a high risk chance you get caught up in some other kerfuffles here, as we now send one round the outside of Butler, the man we swapped cars with earlier on in this season, up into P15 down the inside of George Russell, having the very opportunistic move here on the Ferrari. The Ferrari is has shown pretty decent pace in recent races, but I suspect here when it's more about pure downforce, maybe it'll be their undoing a little bit. But now we're ahead of Russell, and we're watching now side-by-side battle between Leclerc and the Racing Point car Lance Stroll, and Leclerc has got the Canadian then as we move into the end of lap number 1 on to lap number 2, and I fear this might be what a pattern based in this race of, like I said, both of us are recovering position, myself and Leclerc, but we're also trying to jockey for position with each other. But right now Leclerc being ahead of me on the grid and being ahead of me right now in the opening lap of this race means he can just keep on overtaking cars and effectively chucking like little hurdles between myself and him. So we got past one hurdle of Lance Stroll, but look at this right now on the back straight here, on the main straight here in Singapore. Leclerc might just be able to make another overtake and put another car between myself and him as we go up through. I have no doubt myself and him will be able to come back into some decent points in this race. It's just about kind of, how far up the order, and if at some point I can actually catch him like this, kind of get real close and have a chance at maybe trying to overtake him whilst we both get up the order. But there, I did have an opportunity, had a little bit of a sniff down the inside of Grosjean, but that 3 wide was just never going to happen. It's so off camber, that corner there, and it just invites you to get pinched on the inside. But here we go, sent it down the inside there of the different Singapore sling there on the right-hand side and got it done. Caught Grosjean napping, and so we're up into P12. And now we watch on, once again, surprise, surprise, Leclerc overtaking another car there. It's Kimi Räikkönen, my old teammate in the Alfa Romeo car from seasons 2 and 1. Opening DRS here, overtaking mode engaged with that Alfa Romeo. Decent in a straight line. It looks like also I've compromised my setup quite a bit here, so I don't think I have the straight line advantage I kind of had at Monza really, or most circuits, but we still send one down the inside into a corner. But that'll be the key thing here. I think here at Singapore I'm going to be making most of my overtakes under braking into corners because of the amount of downforce I'm running on this setup here to, you know, obviously get the kind of lap time out of it. But for now, that compromise doesn't seem too bad here as we charge on along with Leclerc, and he sends one down the inside of Valtteri Bottas. It's a great overtake, but it's a great comeback and fight back from the Finn in the Mercedes car. That isn't as good as it used to be these days. He's on hard tyres as well, so he should be a lot slower. Leclerc's got the position. He's up into the top 10 there. Can we get round the outside? We go the long way round, and we get a little bit of a screen freeze and nearly get squeezed right into the wall by Bottas. We had to let go, otherwise I would have lost my bit of my front wing. And so that's invited Lance Stroll to come through out of nowhere there. Great straight line speed by the Canadian. We go down the inside of Bottas again, and we get spewed off, and we nearly hit the wall for the second time in about 3 corners. We are really on the fine edge. You can see how hard I'm trying to push to overtake these guys, and these two are having a nice scrap there. Lance Stroll has just done the Mercedes car there, and so Bottas vulnerable. We go around the outside, we hit the wall again, double lock up on the right, we go wide and off circuit even a little bit, but Bottas there was a little bit slow, so therefore I don't think anything of it, and we're able to continue on there. So that was, oh my god, Lance Stroll just crashed with his teammate Hülkenberg in front of us, and we've just avoided an almighty T-bone collision. It is all kicked off here on lap number 4 of the Singapore Grand Prix. We overtook Valtteri Bottas down the inside, but ahead of us over the bridge, Hülkenberg going slow, and a smash there for Lance Stroll, breaks his front wing, and we narrowly miss the kind of, you know, T-bone collision that was going on there between Stroll and Hülkenberg, and we would have kind of made it an H pattern in a way if we crashed into Stroll there on the left-hand side. So we just lived to fight another day, and so we're up into P9. But you can see on the front right tyre there, you can see the tyre carcass internal temperature very hot there, getting a bit yellow, and so I'm having to slow down on purpose and drive a little bit carefully into these corners, lifting coast, trying to cool down that tyre a little bit because I can't push anymore until that tyre's cooled down. So I have to kind of drive on purpose, slow, cool the tyre down. Once it's cooled down, I can start pushing once again in this free air and try and close up to Leclerc, who's already catching another train of traffic there. He's a few seconds ahead now, but that train is so slow that hopefully we will catch him in a matter of laps, I guess. And we do that up until lap number 6 now, and it's not even Leclerc. Leclerc's already overtaken Giovinazzi here, but you can see he's right up the road, and so we caught him up in no time there. These guys going so much slower than the Toro Rosso can in clean air, so clearly showing qualifying. I don't know what happened. Our car was somewhat broken in qualifying because in the race it's flying and it's doing what the Toro Rosso has done best this season, and it's absolutely murdering every single car around here. So we go around the outside of Giovinazzi and we're up into P8 of the Grand Prix then, and we're closing up for Leclerc in P7, who's getting caught up a little bit now behind, I think that's Lucas Weber in the Renault there, having issues getting past the Ferrari car of Ricciardo. Ricciardo good on the defensive drive. There goes Weber down the inside then. Leclerc has a little bit of a look and he's going to get caught up even more. We're right up the gearbox. We're literally pushing Leclerc through that corner. We have a little cheeky look around the outside, but Leclerc squeezes us oh so close to the wall there, almost like Sergio Perez did to Ocon back in the Singapore Grand Prix. I think last year, was it? I can't quite remember, but it's very, very close stuff there in fine margins. It really has been this entire Singapore Grand Prix. We move on to lap number 9. We're still staring at the back of Leclerc, but this time he's staring at the back of Ricciardo. So Weber's got past Ricciardo, and look how slow Ricciardo's going. He's literally an absolute red bus right now at the Singapore GP. The amount of time Weber's gained on us is ridiculous. So thankfully now as we move on to lap number 10, Leclerc will make the move. Can we make the move? We pounce and we go around the outside almost of both cars. There we go, off circuit, just about keep it in the white lines, just on the curbing there, and overtake Ricciardo, but we almost made the double pass on Leclerc as well. That would have been quite something actually, to go the long way round into turn 1 there. Not quite though, and so we're in P7 now, chasing after Leclerc through the last corner there, closing up the rear end, stepping out a little bit, but here we go, DRS open. Can we make a move into turn 1 on the outside there? Lock up at the front left. Leclerc's still got the nose in there, so we have to leave him the room, and now he comes across and tries to push us right and get the elbows out, and so we go wheel to wheel with Charles Leclerc for, I've forgotten the number of times we've done this season, but we go again, and we're fighting hammer and tong once again, and so the two Toro Rossos are now going to be lining astern. Here we go, catching some slipstream there to try and overtake him now on the inside. Oh, so close to the wall on the left. Leclerc pinches us a little bit on the inside there. He's got the inside line for the next right-hander, and he's going to get that done. Pushes us wide a little bit. We get really close again to that red curb wall there. We're on the inside now for the very awkward left-hander, and Leclerc keeps his foot in and gets a mega bit of acceleration there and traction, and remains ahead on lap number 11 for P6 in the Grand Prix. So a mega fight, and Leclerc has done a wonderful job at defending, to be fair to him, and we just can't make it work quite right now. You can see getting a little bit flustered now with a lock up on the front right there, so I have to try and reconvene ourselves and maybe reapproach this overtake at some later point in the Grand Prix, because you can see now the left-right tyre now overheating with the internal carcass temperature. It's time to cool down the tyre, and probably time for a pit stop very soon. And so on the very next lap 12, we will come in for an earlier pit stop to try and get an undercut on Leclerc if we can. It'll be difficult because the hard tyre isn't that great of a tyre anywhere really, let alone Singapore, but it's worth a go really, I think. But just going back to our lap number 11, once again, such a close and great little fight there with Charles Leclerc. Ever since we joined Toro Rosso after round 4 of this season, it has just been non-stop, and it's been such a great rivalry here. It really has been like a 2014 Mercedes Rosberg v Hamilton kind of situation, just hammering Tong there at the start of the season. Really great stuff. And so we go again on the second stint, lap number 13, and we've got the majority of the Grand Prix to go now, all the way to the end of these hard tyres, the white wall, and we push on now on towards that 2014. Have we done enough to undercut Leclerc to get the position for free in the strategy? Here we go into turn 1. There goes Leclerc into the pit lane exit there, and he's going to be so close. He comes out, and we're going to have to go and tuck in behind. Unfortunately, couldn't make the move work on the outside. We would have been just squeezed right into the wall there, so I didn't even try to go around the outside there. Instead, can we line up a move now? A bit of understeer there from the dirty air of Leclerc already kicking in. We've now got DRS open, rich mix engage, overtake mode also going. So here we go, gaining. Is it going to be enough onto the next left-hander? Wide on the entry, tight on the line to the apex, and we've got a nice little bit of traction there and some space to work with on the outside. We give it a go, but Leclerc, really fine margin there. He's doing just enough to defend from us there. You know, hard but fair racing that is from Charles, and so we remain in P10 and he remains in P9 there. Could have had a go on the left hand side on that next left-hander, but like the move we didn't do with Grosjean earlier on the Grand Prix, there was no point trying to stick our nose in on the inside because we wait patiently enough. On lap number 15 now, here we go, DRS open, and this time we're so much closer to Leclerc. Around the outside we go, the long way around, pinch him through on the apex there, on the exit go wide, and then go back to the racing line, and we're up into P9 of the Grand Prix, but crucially ahead of our championship rival and teammate Charles Leclerc. So here we go now closing up to Kevin Magnussen, and now this is kind of the finishing moves of the Grand Prix, if you will, trying to get the last few places and the last few points here. I suspect though Leclerc will very easily be able to keep up with us basically and keep us honest and just get these positions as well. So I'm doing essentially what he did to me earlier on the Grand Prix, putting hurdles between us two, just to make sure he doesn't have a chance to overtake me back for this Grand Prix. So we go down the inside then of the Dane in the Williams car, slight lock up on the front left tyre, but no issue, and we're up into P8 now, and now Danica Fiat will be the next car along. I don't know if there's other people yet to make pit stops. I feel like there are probably a few others yet to make pit stops in this Grand Prix that maybe did a conscious strategy from the hards to the mediums. We'll have to see about that. We move on though to lap number 18, and we're now closing up to Dan Ricciardo, one of the people that's still going on in this Grand Prix on a set of hard tyres that he started the GP on, and so Kvyat dispatched of him. We're going to try and dispatch him if we can. Around the outside there, a little bit awkward. Ricciardo does leave the space there, so he had a little go, didn't work out there, and so right now into sector 3 it's going to be very difficult to overtake him. So like Ricciardo, I think Ricciardo was actually, Ricciardo was the bus stop earlier on for myself and Leclerc before the pit stop phases, and he's yet again still here being a bus stop for us here again, but this time I'm the lead Toro Rosso as he goes. Look how slow he's going. This Ferrari is literally driving like it's an F2 car in sector 3 there. So Magnussen and Leclerc both going to close up quite a fair bit. Absolute nightmare for us here as Ricciardo boxes in. I don't know if he's secretly working for Leclerc. I don't know what's going on here. So slow. And so here we go through the last corner. DRS open. We got to make the move stick here. We move on the right. Ricciardo goes to the inside. That's fine. We cut across him, and we're going to get that into turn 1 up into P7 of this Grand Prix finally. But my word, that was absolute mobile chicane and a half to get round Daniel Ricciardo there on lap number 19. But we now move on. We've got clean air, and we'll just try and chase after Danny Kvyat now and try and get one last position if we can. It takes us all the way to lap 26, so we've been pushing for about 7 laps now, 8 laps as we move on to lap 27 to just close up this gap to Kvyat there. So just shows the field spread, you know, how much traffic we had to get past early on the Grand Prix. Just meant that we're nowhere near the top kind of 4 positions in this Grand Prix. P5 will be the max, I think, here that we can hope for in this Grand Prix. So let's just book that in and get the P5. But Leclerc has also been coming with me slowly but surely as well. But here we go now. DRS not available for some reason actually there. So just pure slipstream there. Perhaps our DRS is offline and broken, but for some reason we don't actually have it activated and even available there. But he tried to go around the outside of Kvyat there, but he gets really elbowy on the defense there. So we made some contact and they had to kind of back out there just to kind of in case not make some contact there. So we move on now to lap 28. So second time lucky now, and finally we have DRS. So I think our DRS was probably broken, I would say, and we didn't see when it got broken. But here we go now on the left hand side. Difference here on the left, on the inside of him now, and we're going to get the elbows out and squeeze him out this time and get up into P5 of this Grand Prix. Lucas Weber P4. He was very close to us earlier on the Grand Prix, but he's just waltzed away from us now on the minimap there. So like I said, P5 will be the max we can hope for in this Grand Prix. And we're going to see this through to the end then, on towards lap 31 then. Leclerc has also overtaken Kvyat then, so he's in P6. So it's been a massive fight back for both us Toro Rosso cars from P16 and 18 to P5 and P6 respectively there. But the good news is we've got some points on Leclerc. Not a massive amount, it's only going to be a measly few, but it's still something. And so we're chipping away in this championship fight that just keeps on going across the line. It's P18 to P5. Pretty damn decent race, I'd say.
Rubber and bring it home.
It was a tough race at times, but they've held on to take a great victory for McLaren today. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
So in the end, Lando Norris wins it, Verstappen in second, and Sergio Perez in third place. Then for the championship, we are not actually getting the lead back from Leclerc. Actually, he had enough points on us after last race to keep that with the only P5 and P6 difference in points there. But it's oh so close, obviously. But you can see, actually, if you look close enough, Sergio Perez is not too far away from us. If this continues, if me and Leclerc keep taking points off one another and keep having a little bit of an issue where we're not finishing 1 and 2 in these races, and Perez just keeps getting these silent podiums and maybe, you know, one-off race wins, of course, like I think he did at Monza. I think he won Monza or the race before. I can't quite remember, but he's been getting close in the championship, so this might just turn into a 3-race scrap, surprisingly. Even though it's been all about myself and Leclerc pretty much ever since I moved to Toro Rosso, Perez, out of nowhere, could be in the mix. You never know, so let's wait and see. So this could get even more tasty than it is now somehow. But guys, if you did enjoy this race, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you are new around here to subscribe for weekly full-on content, I've been aarava. I'm just today. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.